Father taught me many things here. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Father taught
getting a bit old to be a squire, aren't we? Podrick fucking pain. I thought you'd be dead by now.
Not yet.
Are they in there?
Uh-huh.
You think they're fucking?
What? No.
Why not? I'd fuck her. You'd fuck her, wouldn't you?
I'm her squire.
Oh. Well, he'd fuck her, that's for sure. And she'd fuck him, don't you think? The way she looks at him. The way all women look at him is frankly irritating. I preferred working with a little brother on that account. Come on. You're the one with the magic cook. She must have shown it to her by now.
She's training me to fight.
Is she? Oh.
An hour in the morning, an hour at night. Every day.
Then how come an old cunt like me can still sneak up and murder you?
That's a different sort of fighting.
Now, that's the truth, isn't it? You want to learn that sort of fighting? All right. All right, let's start with your footwork. Show me your stance. Now, listen to me, bud. You see how your feet are about a yard apart? Lesson number one. Assume everyone wants to hit you, because they do, bud. Everyone wants to hit a fucking squire. Do it again. Come on, don't stop.
I never thought you'd find her.
Hey folks, how's it going? This is Kaiser from Kaisers Kastle. How's it going tonight? I wanted to have a conversation on something that's been kind of making me think about some things. The difference between delusion and illusion. Of course, as my first mentor, Colonel X, you've all heard in a podcast before, but he had some wise words a long time ago on the difference between them. And delusions held by the person, the individual mind. Illusions are generated by the A, object or event being observed, or by the entities or entities controlling, that'd be the B side, the object being observed. Illusions, therefore, can be experienced by masses of people. Delusions by the individual. Easiest breakdown on it, okay? And remember Sun Tzu's Art of War. All warfare begins with deception, i.e. illusory reality. These are facts that cannot be denied. And these things people need to see. They need to understand it, actually. Need to understand it completely. All right, here's one illusion. This is what the media, I'll get into, trust me, I will get into this delusion very soon. I was about to say disillusion, but that's another topic I'm working on today. Delusion will be covered in a minute, but illusion is more apropos to start this. Now, it's an illusion that Hollywood and academia, the schools, and when I say Hollywood, everybody has to understand I'm talking about the media, those that push something, okay? They try to change culture. That's an issue. The reason I'll tell you it's an issue is because, look, for centuries, at least as long as Maria Theresa, our house is, we actually started out under the only empress of Austria-Hungary. Okay? Think about that. And yet we've always been a patrilineal house. And yet we had an empress over our house back centuries ago. You guys can research it. It's a fact. Never believe me. Believe what you can research and find out. Now, the funnier part to me that really needs to be looked at, the media propagates homosexuality. That's a fact. You know, there used to be a saying in our house, yeah, we're a proud house full of pimps, queers, and horse thieves. It was a joke, okay? But everybody in the house, at least in my knowledge span of time, knew there were certain people that were homosexuals. The difference was they got married. They had children, served in the military. They weren't deviants trying to destroy children. I won't bring up last names, but I will bring up two names. One was a lesbian. The other one was homosexual. Now, one of them dated Paul Lynde, Hollywood Squares fame, right? And he was an old guy, and Paul Lynde was much younger than him. Probably, I don't know, 50. He was, I think, Opie was 70. Edie, well, she had her girlfriend, whatever. But the thing is, most of them married for one reason: to propagate the species. They weren't looking at the kids any other way. They had their own love for their spouse, and they had another love for whoever they were with. This is what I saw as a young man, as a young boy. And none of them ever tried to touch us. They weren't kid touchers. That's the key. They were living their life. They were talking to people. They were being real human. Really human beings. Real human beings. Jesus, really human beings. Hey, I just conned a new phrase. But the difference is they had respect for the culture. Now they're not pushing that because they don't want children. And if you disagree or you doubt me, I'll be very frank and actually court with you right now. When you can abort a baby after it's born, several states are now pushing this. We just jumped the Rubicon. That's where delusion comes in. How does one delude their mind that we all despise any kid toucher? We all despise anybody who murders a pregnant woman. And yet, it's okay for the mother. Maybe it will, these people pushing women's rights don't think there might be a time where a man will say, you know what, I don't want that kid. Well, me and my twin sister would never be born. I'm sure of that. And it may have not have been from our father. It might have been from the man who made us. A Dago, right? Like I've always said, I'm half Dago and half Boxhead, German, right? I like to use those euphemisms, kraut, whatever you want to call me. It matters not, because I don't have some sort of weird issue over names or what you call me. It doesn't matter to me. But some it does. Some it does. So let's say the father can now say, no, you're getting an abortion to the woman. Remember, cultural, everything ebbs and flows. Now, was my grandfather happy about the birth? Probably not. Was my father happy about the birth? Definitely not. I can tell you, except I'm not going to get personal on this, but he definitely was not. And yet my mother raised us both right. In a right way. Look, the point being on this is the delusion that people think if they push one agenda, it's not going to come back and bite them on the ass. That's a problem. Because it will. It always does. And they also push an illusion that borders shouldn't be closed. They should be open. Everybody should be able to move. Well, then you lose your culture. And Hollywood and the media, when I say Hollywood, I'm talking about all media, print, everything. When they're pushing an open borders agenda, what they mean are they don't want the best and brightest, they want the dumbest. And the reason for that is they want to keep their political style in vogue. And I'm talking both neocon and neo-prog, which is neo-progressive, if you don't understand this. I'm going to be very basic. There was a saying in the family, my aunt, and I can't remember her name because she died so long ago. I think it was Dixie. Anyways, whatever. A lot of these people are aunts, not by blood, but there's, everybody has people they call aunt and uncle that aren't aunt and uncle. Like Opie and Edie. They weren't family, but they were good people. They babysat us when we were kids, honestly. That's really the bound and the bonds that we had with them. So anyways, she used to have a saying that, actually, she was married, my Opa married my Oma, and that was her sister. I don't know if that was a nickname or her real name, I'm not going to lie, because I was so young when she died. But she said, we love all of the kids on both sides of the blankets, and including the other side of the blanket, which I was like, what's that mean? Well, bastards is what she meant. Because it continues the line. Okay? What you have now is they don't want you, the smart, intelligent people that are indigenous to this nation, because we're all Americans. It's indigenous people does not mean just Indians. As a matter of fact, the Indians are starting to find out that, hey, there's a study, and white people were actually the first here in that Hopewell, Adena in Ohio. Think about it. They may have been the first original people. And of course, there's warfare that happened. And then they mixed. That's why the American Indian looks nothing like the Indian south of the border. But nobody wants to talk about these things. Well, I'm talking about it right now. So, my consistent thought is about my brothers and my sisters in the military. And I'm going to go more in depth on Delusion and Illusion with them. But this is my primer on it. My primer, if you want to call it that. Whatever, however academia wants to keep pushing words. Because they always try to change the pronunciation. But the fact remains one thing. First off, in our house, we didn't really give a fuck if somebody was a queer. It didn't matter. That's just sad. No grandchildren. Now, because of the media. But back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, those same queers were having families and maybe doing that stuff on the side. And everybody knew it, but it didn't matter. It didn't make them less of a human being or less family. That's something I think the media is so pushed that somebody thinks they have such a deep, dark secret nobody's ever going to love them. Nah. That's not how it works. As long as you keep the line going. It's all about the line. Because your genetic code deserves to keep on going. Secondly, the term indigenous needs to be changed. And the term, you have this whole thing I'm seeing with reparations for slavery. Sorry, I never owned a slave. You're not going to take my money for that. That's something that actually would ignite a civil war, I believe. And I don't like that sticky wet masturbational fantasy of civil war. I think it's stupid and retarded. But what I will say is the time the tax man cometh for me to pay for somebody has no family, because right now in this era, we're now in 2019, guess what, guys? Ain't nobody living you got to pay no reparations to. There's no 20 acres and a mule. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's absolutely disgusting what I see. And of course you have all these people who want to virtue signal on all this shit. Nah. Forget the virtue signaling. You know how you deal with it one-on-one, person to person. You deal with them as individuals and people. You either love them or hate them. It's up to you. Hate crime's an absolute retardation. And never should you deal with that. Because obviously if you murder somebody, you had to have hated them, just like if you assaulted somebody. So why is there a hate crime statute? Oh, because people pushed for it. Nah, I'm done with that. That shit's over and done with. Guess what? Here's what I suggest. Love your family. Love your folk. And when I say folk, I mean the people that surround you, that you trust, your brothers and sisters. Notice I didn't say anything about anything else. I just stated the people who earned the right to stand to your left and right. Period. And that's what I mean. You can earn it by birth, or you can earn it by honor. That is the key. Now, with this draft of females, I'm going to cover this and touch on it very lightly and tell you, before I go into that, I better make sure I'm very clear on something. As I stated, in our family, we don't give a shit what somebody's sexual orientation is, as long as they're not a kid toucher. But what we do care about is our services to our military. And it goes on for lines. And if there's always somebody you didn't tell, somebody you think doesn't know. And that opens you up to blackmail. So the whole homosexual thing does open you up to blackmail. So if you want to do that thing, you better make sure the people you know and love know that you're a homosexual. Or don't even try to serve in the military. That's the bugaboo. And there's always a mother, brother, sister, cousin. Somebody doesn't know. Don't even attempt it if you have not talked honestly with people, because it opens you up to blackmail. The same thing if I'm out there screwing around on my wife with some other woman. It's the same flipping thing. So you're not special in that way. Now, an even greater point that I'll talk about, and that's a delusion that somebody puts on themselves like they can keep a secret. Nah, secrets are never kept. They always come out. That's a fact. You can't control your secrets. You think you can. Even the government thinks they can, but they can't. Now, to go back into what I was about to bounce into. The greater point on earning brotherhood and sisterhood, whatever, is that you do it with honor, dignity, and you absolutely, your brothers have to know you. So do your sisters. And I'm not talking about familial. I'm talking about the man or woman to your left and right. And they have to be able to trust that you'll handle your shit. There's an old thing. When I put my helmet on, my heart's gone. That means I'm not going to feel anything about what I have to do. Two things I would never do, and people never understood why I said it. I'd go out with my boots all knotted up at the top, but they're not pulled tight because, you know, I'm not expecting anything if it's a guard thing or whatever. And they're going to stay on my feet. I wasn't worried about that. But they'd say, like, why aren't you tying your boots? Well, they're tied. They're tied off at the top, just like, you know, how people used to do their sneakers. And I say, you don't want to see me if I have to do two things. Pull my boots tight and put my helmet on. Those two things mean something. Because if I've pulled my boots, I didn't talk about my shoes. Of course, shoes aren't going to stay on your feet like boots. If I have to tighten those boots, and if I have to put my helmet on, shit just got more real than you even believe. I've only done it a couple of times. Well, I guess more than a couple, but whatever. You know, whatever. It's all... I've did more than some and less than most others, right? See how that works? Anywho, so I will go deeper into delusions versus illusion, but I just wanted to cover this quickly and give a primer on it. And that's really all I have to say right now. But the important thing, never forget your family, your house, your word, your honor. You don't break any of those any more than you would break your own balls or your ovaries if you're a female. And that's all I have to say on this. So with that being said, Axion Ghost, Muzo's Pizza was the opening song. And of course, as you all know, at Kaisers Kastle, thank you for sitting on my big orange couch, sipping your cup of coffee, sipping your tea, your adult libation. I don't care what you're sipping on. But the last song that always exits is Inside Enemy Headquarters, and it's done by Axion Ghost. And please visit his page. Links are in the description. So is my subscribe star if you guys want to donate once I get 200 people. But, of course, I don't have that right now. And with that being said, thanks for listening. This is Shuff out.